Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Swallowed Star episode number 28 based on novel. So let's start. Although they were already aware of the situation, Dream Demon Ancestor, Shock Demon Ancestor, Father God of the Automaton Race, Empress of the Bug Clan, Demon Ancestor of the Prison Clan, and Holy Master of the Crystal Clan, who were all members of the United Forces Alliance, felt even more frustrated after hearing from the Northern Territory Alliance. There was already bad blood between the humans and themselves to begin with, and with such intense crossfire this time around, how would the humans not bear any grudges? In the future, when the humans grew stronger and more powerful, would they not seek vengeance? Even so, the United Forces camp no longer had the strength to suppress the humans. The advantage of having more Universe Masters was offset entirely by their opponents' two treasures with impactful willpower. If they were to really fight all the way, they would be fighting a life-and-death battle, a war of persistence, a war of attrition. Even if a few races were willing to go the distance, the Freedom Alliance, the Northern Territory Alliance, and the Space Beast Alliance would not be willing to do so. And if these alliances did not join in the fight, then depending on the few other races, they would not be fighting a war of attrition, rather, they would be trampled upon. This war. Bug Empress's voice was brimming with charm as she spoke. We have already failed. The rise of the human race is unstoppable. When the humans get stronger in the future, the enmity we have formed this time around will be a solid justification to attack us. Yes. That's right. One by one, they all nodded. This is why we need to help one another and form a long-standing but dispersed alliance, said Bug Empress. An alliance specially assigned to deal with any threats from the humans. This alliance will not ask for anything else, only that in the future, when the threat from the humans becomes overbearing, we help one another and allow our race to survive. What do you think of this suggestion? Father God of the Automaton Race, Devil Ancestor of the Prison Clan, and the rest all showed approving looks. Northern Territory Alliance Master, E-Jew, Virtual Real Devil God, and the few other lone travelers were all very easygoing. They have retreated. The United Forces Alliance has left. Numerous Universe Masters stood in the upper skies of the endless remote ocean and looked into the distance. They saw Empress Palace making a hasty departure, moving so quickly that they could detect the waves created within space. Obviously, it was teleporting away. The human camp rejoiced and celebrated. Without a doubt, they had started this war as the weaker party, but by relying on the strength of remote ocean, the tables had been turned in just a short period. Then, mightily, a group of Universe Masters, including those from Ancestral God School, headed toward the core ground of the Primal Secret region where the clusters of palaces were. All guards and servants also boarded God Country transportation and hastily returned to the Primal Secret region. An extremely lavish celebration banquet commenced, and the Universe Masters from the human race were the most excited ones at the banquet. Universe Masters from various other races were delighted, too, because the humans would be having good days ahead, and they, as vassal races of the humans, could look forward to leading better lives as well. After the banquet, Universe Masters of the various other races left, but the Universe Masters from the human race gathered and sat down in various spots. Before them was a simple spread of precious wine and fine cuisine from various parts of the universe. Our race managed a definitive victory this time. Primal Chaos City leader was tearing up, but his voice was as powerful as ever. It is fated that our race shall establish a deep and firm foundation within the primal universe. Even if the United Forces Alliance joins forces with other groups of powers within the primal universe, they will not be able to shake our foothold. Future power and prosperity are within our reach. Our race has lived through Teacher Origin's era and Huge Axe's era, and now, we are truly entering an era of power and prosperity. He sighed. Teacher Origin once led our race. We rose from a race of humble origins to be ranked as one of the pinnacle races. When Teacher was subsequently subjected to eternal suppression by the primal universe, we were lucky enough, for we had someone like Huge Axe to look out for us. Our position remained unshaken. Dead silence. Every Universe Master was either lost in his own imagination or reminiscing on past events. Huge Axe's annihilation brought us all great pain, Primal Chaos City leader said in a low voice. We had to worry about the safety of our race back then, so all this while, no one really bothered looking into the matter of his annihilation. The story of his sudden annihilation within the core of Tilted Peak region, deep down in the Land of Darkness, is full of abnormal occurrences. 1. The map is fake, so who was the mastermind behind these plots? 2. Huge Axe was undoubtedly aware of how horrifying the land of darkness is, so how could he have fallen into it? 3. Given Huge Axe's power, how is it possible that he could be annihilated so suddenly? Of course, he added in a solemn tone, the land of darkness is the core region of Tilted Peak sector, so it is extremely dangerous. All of us may know this, but none of us is confident enough, so no one dares to barge their way in. Yes. True, we cannot subject our race to such a heavy loss again. All of them nodded. They were all aware that Huge Axe's annihilation had been a devastating loss for the humans. They could not afford yet another loss. This time around, our race scored big time, said Primal Chaos City leader. Luo Feng has made a great contribution. He looked at Luo Feng. We should all toast to Luo Feng. Yes, we really owe this victory to Luo Feng. To Luo Feng. Everyone raised their glasses and looked at Luo Feng. They saw for themselves and knew that Luo Feng had made the greatest contribution, especially when he used his endless remote ocean to resist the soul attack from the entire United Forces Alliance. How terrifying it had been. But Luo Feng had actually managed to survive while taking it entirely upon himself to resist that attack. At that time, they were all filled with immeasurable gratitude and admiration. Luo Feng quickly picked up his glass. Honestly speaking, I kind of caused this disaster by receiving that ancient civilization's voice transmission. I also made a mistake. How is this considered a mistake? Someone called out. Our race is so powerful now, all thanks to this ancient civilization. Come, let's have a toast. Cheers! Luo Feng was left with no choice but to respond to every single toast. Primal Chaos City leader saw the situation and smiled. Without further ado, he said, all right. Now, let's discuss another matter. This time, we captured a total of 208 Universe Masters. First, we will need to rope them into joining our camp, that's for sure. Their presence will strengthen us. Second, we still need to practice caution so as to prevent them from betraying us. Third, how are we going to prevent them from betraying us, and how are we going to win them over so that they feel a sense of belonging for our camp? How do we get them to join our side willingly? Everyone, share your thoughts. One by one, the Universe Masters proposed their suggestions. Soon, a simple yet effective proposal was implemented. Firstly, because the situation in the primal universe was still dangerous, the majority of the Universe Masters would definitely stay together. Since the original universe was so massive, sending almost all the Universe Masters to the original universe was a confirmed arrangement. After all, if they were all widely dispersed, it would be terrible if they all took off. Second, they should not bring out the anger and dissatisfaction of these Universe Masters. That was why, for every 10 eras, every single Universe Master would be given a period of 1 era during which they were allowed to roam about the primal universe and universe ocean to their heart's content with absolute freedom. After all, great beings spent the majority of their time on cultivation. When they were cultivating in the original universe, they only had 1/10 of the time when they were absolutely free. This was a way of pleasing those Universe Masters. At the same time, as the Universe Masters would take turns having this free time, it was also a good way to guarantee that at least 80% of the Universe Masters would remain in the original universe at any given time. Third, those Universe Masters would surely be concerned with the safety of their own races. This was why several Universe Knights would be deployed to the races in question, where they would remain as permanent residents. These Universe Knights were stationed there mainly for security purposes. When dangerous situations arose, these Universe Knights would be the ones handling them, but when there were extremely difficult situations, the headquarters of the human camp would immediately send a group of Universe Masters to render assistance. Fourth, there would be gradual sharing of detailed information about the ancient civilization on how Universe Masters could achieve breakthroughs to become Universe Supreme Masters. The longer these Universe Masters remained within the human camp, the more information they would be given. This was a way of instilling a sense of longing within these Universe Masters. Fifth, while roaming within Universe Ocean, the help rendered to the Universe Masters had to be reinforced, so that the Universe Masters would be able to see how strong the humans were, and also realize the benefits of having such strong backing. The human camp started planning. Those Universe Masters whose fates rested in the hands of the humans most certainly had no other opinions. They were glad to oblige. However, when the humans asked them to contact their close friends and Universe Masters from their clans in the Freedom Alliance, these Universe Masters hesitated and came up with a load of excuses. But the humans were not anxious in the least. Everything was happening in accordance with their expectations. Other than the ancestral god school, the other universe masters of the human camp were quick to formally join the Hong Alliance. After all, they would eventually be permanent members. Given their capabilities, the human race would be able to lay a stronger foundation. Meanwhile, in the faraway East Emperor Holy Land universe, the human race has won? Apparently, East Emperor Ancestor was very dissatisfied when he learned the news. Indeed, he has received the inheritance of the pulse of Duan Dong River. Up until now, he still had various means and techniques to use. It is just that this inheritance is still not mine to behold. East Emperor Ancestor was furious, yet helpless. He had intended for the humans to suffer a crushing defeat. When the humans fell into a predicament, he, East Emperor Ancestor, would take over leadership and negotiate with Luo Feng in handing over the inheritance as a part of the conditional exchange. That way, the success rate would be more likely. But now, trouble was brewing. Purple Moon Holy Land Universe. Oh? A faint purple-robed shadow asked from where he stood. The United Forces Alliance has lost? Even with the help of the Freedom Alliance? Yes, Ancestor, Juhua True God replied with deference. Ever since the breakthrough of a reincarnation era achieved by East Emperor Ancestor, and for countless generations of reincarnation eras thereafter, every reincarnation era saw the births of many Universe Supreme Masters. Yet all the while, no one had been able to transcend a reincarnation era as East Emperor Ancestor had. That is, until Purple Moon Ancestor made his appearance. Ancestor, that United Forces Alliance has lost, said Juhua True God. We had promised to give them the second half of the inheritance, so are we still giving it to them? Since they lost and disappointed you, they are in no place to ask for any reward. Even if we do not give it to them, there is nothing they can do. Apparently, Juhua True God was most unwilling to oblige. Of course, we must give it to them, said Purple Moon Ancestor. We made a promise, so we must fulfill it. We, Purple Moon, cannot stoop to the level of being unfaithful before the lesser races. Ancestor is much too kind, Juhua True God replied right away. Those races from the primal universe are truly blessed. Purple Moon Ancestor continued to say, not only the Freedom Alliance. We must also give it to the Bug Clan, the demons, the automaton race, and all other races of the United Forces Alliance. We must give it to all of them. Impart the experience of the ancient civilization on how their universe masters can achieve breakthroughs to become universe supreme masters. Juhua True God was taken aback. Giving it to the Freedom Alliance was fine. After all, this had already been promised earlier. But giving it to the United Forces camp? There had been no such promise. Ancestor? Juhua True God could not resist the urge to ask. The rate at which the human that received the inheritance of the pulse of Duan Dong River rose was fast to begin with, Purple Moon Ancestor said. If we do not provide them with some help, where else can the United Forces Alliance find the power to resist? I still need to depend on their help in suppressing the humans. Besides, this little bit of inheritance, how much is it worth? At most, they could use it to create a few more true gods during their reincarnation era. But to transcend a reincarnation era? I think they are still hopeless. Juhua True God also nodded. Indeed, without the help of Purple Moon Ancestor, this reincarnation era of the primal universe would, normally, only be able to breed 20 to 30 Universe Supreme Masters. With Purple Moon Ancestor's help, perhaps they might be able to bring this number up to around 100. Yet throughout the course of history, there had been generations and generations of reincarnation eras, which amounted to tens of thousands of reincarnation eras. Every reincarnation era had a batch of Universe Supreme Masters. How many Universe Supreme Masters did that mean? Yet the number who could transcend their reincarnation era was just 2. So long as we do not impart the inheritance on cultivating to the ultimate limit of a true god, there won't be much to worry about, Purple Moon Ancestor said. Just remember to keep a close watch over Luo Feng's every move. Noted, Juhua True God replied with much deference. Very soon, the second half of the inheritance information was handed over to the Freedom Alliance as promised by Purple Moon Holy Land. Lightwalker Master personally visited the various races like the Bug Clan, the Demons, the Automaton race, and the Prison Clan and imparted the complete inheritance information to them one by one. The Bug Clan, the Automaton race, and other races were all pleasantly surprised, but they were not without worry. The war among the top beings from almost all the superpowers in the original universe was over, yet the ordinary life forms didn't know anything about it. Lower-tier wars would be catastrophic to them, yet the war among the top beings didn't affect them at all. Of course, if one side lost, the beings in their territories would be ruthlessly slaughtered. The united forces didn't win. The human team didn't lose. This was how the war had ended. It could have been foreseen that the two teams would keep fighting each other for a long time. Unless one side was absolutely confident that they could crush the other side, such a large-scale war wouldn't happen again. Hu Yangbo had died, and Yun Moar had been destroyed. However, since Barbata had become undying, he had rebuilt Yun Moar quickly, taking back the power area that had previously belonged to Hu Yangbo before, except for the area around Earth. Purple stars shone their light upon Yun Moar through dark clouds. On Earth were warriors gathered from all kinds of planets. They were trained strictly on the planet, while warriors most loyal to the master of Yun Moar would be chosen from among these candidates. "Come at me, idiots," from a Luo star, a giant being roared at the camp opposite to him. "I'm right here waiting. Come if you can." The giant had a red horn on his forehead. He stood just outside the camp. The members of the opposite side were irritated. Someone tried to rush out, but they were pulled back. "What a maniac! Are you suicidal?" A voice came from the camp. "Don't worry about that maniac." "Ha ha ha, wah ha," the single-horned giant man was reckless. "Idiots," from a Luo star, "you are cowards. You'll be cowards before me forever." A being appeared in the sky. He wore a casual, silver-white cape as he floated in the sky. He looked down and whispered, "Is this how Yun Moar looked like before it was destroyed? Barbata spent so much time rebuilding it. It seems Hu Yangbo does have a strong impact on him." Then Luo Feng kept flying. He flew relaxedly. Neither the security guards nor the other means of detection spotted him. Some warriors flew past in front of him, but they didn't notice him either. This was what true control over space and time meant. He flew for a while as he wanted to observe Yun Moar, and it took him a while to arrive above a black castle. Luo Feng looked down and shouted, "Barbata!" On the throne inside the palace sat a child in a black cape. He had two antennae on his forehead and red eyes. His face was chubby. He may have looked cute, but the female servants from other planets who were performing down there knew how terrifying he was. "Barbata," said a voice. The black-caped child raised his head. He teleported and disappeared. In the sky above the black castle, the silver-caped form of Luo Feng stood in the sky, and a black-caped child appeared beside him. The black-caped child looked at Luo Feng and shouted, "Master! You seem pretty relaxed." Luo Feng chuckled. "But it seems you're still practicing hard. You can teleport now. The resources you provided, and the path you suggested," said Barbata. "Even the most mediocre can become undying, not to mention someone smart like me." The ordinary class didn't know about that war, but Barbata was undying and had been summoned to the primal universe before. The undying fighters had come back only after the war had ended. Besides, everyone in Primal Chaos City was talking about the war. Although they didn't know the details, they had heard that Luo Feng was one of the top performers. "Let's go to the outer space of Yun Moar," said Luo Feng. "Why?" Barbata was confused. "I'm going to resurrect Hu Yangbo," said Luo Feng. Barbata's body shook, as he couldn't control his emotions. Luo Feng sighed in his heart. Barbata was, after all, closer to Hu Yangbo. There was still some distance between him and Barbata. For one thing, Barbata had called Luo Feng by his name at first, but as Luo Feng grew stronger, Barbata had started to revere him and call him Master. How could he not be in awe of Luo Feng? Luo Feng was one of the top beings in the human race, even in the entire original universe. On the contrary, Barbata and Hu Yangbo had been through countless life-and-death battles, and they had spent an eternity going on adventures through the universe. Barbata had been with Hu Yangbo ever since becoming an intelligent life form. It was not difficult to imagine how close they had been. "Okay," said Barbata with thrill. "Let's go to outer space." Luo Feng nodded, took Barbata, and disappeared. In the outer space of Yun Moar, Luo Feng, wearing his silver cape, stood outside the atmosphere while Barbata stood beside him, looking worried. "Watch closely," said Luo Feng. "Up." Luo Feng looked around the space in front of him. With a thought, time in the area started to turn back. The scenes were rewound, including the scene when Yun Moar had been rebuilt and the scene when Yun Moar had been attacked and destroyed. Luo Feng controlled time and accelerated the rewinding. Luo Feng stopped. The triangular Yun Moar spaceship appeared. There were beings inside it. Is it this one, Barbata? Asked Luo Feng. With a thought, the beings inside Yun Moar's spaceship appeared. A handsome man showed up at the front of the control room in the spaceship, and beings were standing behind him, including Barbata. Wuxie, Wuxia, Barbata couldn't stop trembling, and he shouted at Luo Feng, "Yes, it's them. It's them." Luo Feng was surprised. Barbata was, indeed, closer to Hu Yangbo and his servants. He decided to resurrect those soul slaves as well, to show his gratitude to Barbata and Hu Yangbo. Hu Yangbo's help seemed tiny now, but it was highly influential to him. Freeze! Luo Feng moved his mind. It locked Yun Moar's space, Hu Yangbo, and his 9 soul slaves. Everyone was frozen in place. Turn back time. Luo Feng let the time go back to the original. It was like a spring bouncing back. Luo Feng didn't have to endure any burden if he decided not to save anyone, but there would be a price to pay if he wanted to bring back lives by taking them from the past to the present. The punishment was actually for Hu Yangbo and his 9 soul slaves, yet Luo Feng was the one who bore it, as they couldn't. To Luo Feng, it was easy for him to revive Universe Knights, not to mention some undying fighters. After a while, Yun Moar's spaceship floated in the sky. Apparently, Luo Feng had even brought back Yun Moar's star spaceship from that time. If a being was still alive, he couldn't bring it back. As for objects, however, they could be brought back even if they still existed. For example, an existing true treasure could be duplicated by bringing one from the past when turning back time. The punishment for this, however, would be horrifying. It would cost more to bring back a single true treasure than to get 10 new true treasures. Of course, the punishment for bringing back Yun Moar's star spaceship was nothing to Luo Feng. After all, Yun Moar's star spaceship wasn't even a treasure. The door opened, and a handsome man in a black cape strolled excitedly through the doorway. He took a step and walked into the space. Undying fighters behind him walked out one by one as well. They all looked excited and nervous. The handsome, black-caped man looked at Luo Feng, then noticed black-caped child beside him. "Barbata," he yelled. "Big brother." Barbata couldn't help it anymore. He teleported to beside the handsome man, Hu Yangbo, and hugged him. This man was both like a big brother and a father to him. "Big brother, big brother, big brother," Barbata kept shouting as he embraced Hu Yangbo, and his voice showed how much he had missed Hu Yangbo. Luo Feng looked in the distance and sighed. Barbata was indeed close with Hu Yangbo. Hu Yangbo and his 9 slaves were all dazed. They all had the memories from the past, so they all knew that they had died. Yet they had been brought back now. A universe master turned back time and revived them? How? What dazed them more was Barbata, who had previously only been an intelligent life form, had teleported to them. Teleportation? "Barbata, you're undying now," said an ape-shaped undying life form standing behind Hu Yangbo. "Yes." Barbata nodded. "With the help of my master, Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng. I'm an undying emperor now, and I can teleport." Milky Way Horde leader? Hu Yangbo and his soul slaves were all bewildered. Of course, they knew Milky Way. Hu Yangbo had a land in the Milky Way, yet they had never heard of any Horde leader. They hadn't expected a Milky Way Horde leader to be here after being resurrected, and they couldn't imagine that Barbata, who had previously been an intelligent life form, was an undying emperor stronger than all of them now. After all, Hu Yangbo was only an official. How long have we been dead? 10 million years? 100 million years? Hu Yangbo couldn't help asking. And who is this Milky Way Horde leader Luo Feng? Milky Way Horde leader is one of the top beings in the human race, and he's also one of the supreme beings in the original universe, answered Barbata. It was Master Luo Feng who turned back time and resurrected you all. That is Master Luo Feng. He pointed at Luo Feng in the distance. Hu Yangbo and his slaves turned around to look at the silver-caped man standing in the distance. Their attention had been entirely on Barbata. Until he pointed at Luo Feng, they hadn't even realized he was standing there. The silver-caped man walked forward, which astounded Hu Yangbo and his slaves. Amazing. This was a being who could turn back time. They were nothing in front of such a being. "Teacher Hu Yangbo," said the silver-caped man. After a while. "I know the universe number of Teacher Hu Yangbo." Luo Feng smiled. "As long as you connect to the virtual universe, you can see my number on your contact list. You can reach me anytime you want." Teacher Hu Yangbo and Barbata haven't seen each other for a long time, so I'll leave you two alone. He then turned around and disappeared. Hu Yangbo and his soul slaves were only relieved after seeing Luo Feng leave. Big brother, Master Luo Feng is grateful of you, said Barbata. Even though you died a long time ago, you were his instructor and left your inheritance, which benefited him before. There's no need to be so nervous. You can speak plainly. Big brother and the rest of you, why were you scared? He couldn't even talk with you. It sounds simple, and we all understand that, said the ape-shaped undying fighter. That's a universe master, Barbata. To us, Danwu Universe Country Master is already an ancient and invincible being. As for universe masters, they are the pinnacle beings of the human race. Though Big Brother did that Milky Way Horde leader a favor, we didn't know him. Who wouldn't be scared of a powerful being like him? He might be able to kill us with one look. Hu Yangbo took a deep breath and stroked Barbata's head. Barbata, you fought with him before, and you've been with him since he was still weak. You grew with him, so you are comfortable with him. We didn't know him directly, so we need to be well behaved. Even if he owes me a favor, I can't be reckless. Otherwise, I'll be in trouble. Everyone around him nodded. There was an ancient proverb on the earth, to be in the king's company is tantamount to living with a tiger. When facing a being with absolute power, one needed to be careful, even if that being owed a favor. Like a king on the earth, universe masters who could slaughter the beings on billions of planets and reserve time to save countless beings were held in awe by ordinary undying fighters. Most undying fighters couldn't hope to even see a universe master in their lives. Okay. Barbata nodded. I understand what you're saying. Even though Master Luo Feng suppresses his power and treats me the same as before, I still feel nervous sometimes. I called him Luo Feng before, but I don't do that now. That's majesty. Hu Yangbo smiled. Even if a supreme being doesn't reveal his majesty directly, we still venerate him because of his status. Those without respect can't live long. I just didn't expect my broken inheritance to help cultivate such a great being. The yellow-skinned man behind Hu Yangbo said, Barbata, you need to tell us the stories about this Milky Way Horde leader. When they first met, Luo Feng had wanted to talk with them about his stories, and Barbata briefed them, too. Hu Yangbo and his slaves understood how they were connected to Luo Feng. However, after Barbata finished briefing them, Hu Yangbo and the others all looked incredibly nervous. Luo Feng had only talked with them for a short while, and he had left because they were too nervous to have a conversation. As for Hu Yangbo and his soul slaves, they were all curious about how an earthling had become one of the supreme beings in the entire human race after only 200,000 years. Hu Yangbo and the others were all proud that they had helped him in the process, and they all understood that they had a bright future ahead of them as long as they were not foolish. They were now connected to a supreme being. I know everything about Master Luo Feng before he became undying, said Barbata. After becoming undying, he got more and more powerful, at which point I know less and less. Regardless, the stories I do know are fascinating enough. Master Luo Feng has a perfect mind and perfect willpower. He's a truly peerless talent. I'll tell you something about the catastrophes on Earth and the War of Talents. In the Milky Way, Luo Feng walked along in the quiet space. The higher his status became, the lonelier he felt. His family, like his wife, his children, and his parents, would never be estranged from him. But the same could not be said of his friends. Even those friends he had fought with, like Rong Jun and even Hong and Thunder God, would be estranged from him. On the contrary, Wei Wen, who had grown up with him and didn't know much about the seniors in the human race, still treated Luo Feng as he had before. Even if I suppress my power, they are still awed by him. If I let it out, even universe knights don't dare to look me right in the eyes. Luo Feng actually felt quite lonely. When he was resurrecting Hu Yangbo and the slaves, he couldn't help recalling all those friends he'd had before. Like Fire Hammer Squad, when he had first became a warrior. Like his friends who had died during the fight against the swallowing beast, the golden horned beast. He had transferred its soul to him, yet the others died. Could he resurrect them? No, he couldn't. Although universe masters could reverse time, he wasn't able to revive his mates from the past. Those heroes who had died fighting the swallowing beast were only at the Star Traveler level, so they only had 1,000 years to live. If he tried to resurrect them, he could indeed locate them. The punishment of turning back time could be borne by Luo Feng, but the passage of that time had to be borne by them. Undying fighters could easily bear the passage of time. As for his mates from the past, their bodies would immediately weaken and decay with the passage of time, and without multiple bodies, their souls would quickly be gone. Luo Feng couldn't help them at all, even if time was turned back. This was one of the weaknesses of turning back time. It wasn't perfect, as there were several exceptions to its abilities. Luo Feng sighed and flew to the palaces in the distance. It was the holy land of Milky Way where Luo Feng's palaces were situated. After arriving back at the Milky Way, Luo Feng reconstructed the time and space around his palace. Through his control over space and time, he isolated the space and time of the area from it. Even if ordinary spaceships went by, they couldn't enter this space and time. After that, Luo Feng began his first practice after becoming a universe master. In Luo Feng's home in the Milky Way, he had garnered great fame thanks to the unprecedented war that had involved almost all the supreme beings in the original universe. Also, Luo Feng's home was called Milky Way Holy Land, or Milky Way Den, by the other races on the outside. It was where Luo Feng lived. Even an army couldn't do anything to him, not to mention the others. In Milky Way Holy Land, boat of Mausoleum, which was 10 billion kilometers long, slowly floated through space. Luo Feng was practicing in the space of inheritance inside it. Ever since I created the blade technique and got the inheritance, I haven't created any blade techniques. Star Tower started to float on Luo Feng's palm. I have Star Tower, too, yet I can only utilize the third level engravings, and it's already as complex as Nirvana Incarnation. Normally, it was easier to utilize engravings than to create techniques. For example, Universe Masters like Pengong Master, Darkness Master, and Star River Master hadn't created Universe Supreme Master level techniques, yet they could utilize engravings at that level. And the fact that Luo Feng was able to create a blade technique at that level meant he could utilize engravings more advanced than that. Star Tower is the most mysterious true treasure I have, Luo Feng thought. Both Boat of Mausoleum and Shawu Wing are of the machine type, and they both have apparent functions and power limits. As for Blood Shadow Blade, it's only an embryo, and all the techniques need to be created by me. Only Star Tower is so mysterious. Before the war, Luo Feng had been confused as to why Star Tower had such strict requirements for master recognition. However, he hadn't yet discovered the full extent of its unique capabilities, as he hadn't been strong enough. After the war, Luo Feng learned the first special advantage of Star Tower: it was much more efficient in guarding souls than other supreme true treasures. I'll comprehend them carefully now. Luo Feng immediately started to comprehend the engravings now. The time in the space of inheritance was 10,000 times faster than that outside, making it more efficient. After becoming a universe master, Luo Feng could finally start to improve his power comprehensively, trying to maximize his power at this level. Hundreds of years passed, which was much longer on the outside. Luo Feng opened his eyes in the space of inheritance after a long time and frowned. Ancestral God School is looking for me? He took out a token which had been given to him by the Ancestral Gods after he became a sub-member of the Ancestral God School. I need to go see the Ancestral Gods? Luo Feng was confused. If he was still at a mediocre level, it would have been normal for the Ancestral God School to give commands, but he held a different status now. His power had manifested in the previous war. Only under special circumstances would the Ancestral God School look for him. Besides, even if they actually needed him, they could have sent a prophet instead of summoning him directly. I talked with all 3 ancestral gods after the war, and none of them is arrogant, thought Luo Feng. There must be a reason why they are summoning me. He was already a pinnacle being in the original universe, and there had to be mutual respect when great beings talked with each other. Luo Feng disappeared. Ancestral God School, Bohemia Island in the Ancestral God Secret Region. The palace where Luo Feng lived was still there. A silver-caped being appeared, followed by a dimming light. It was Luo Feng. It's been a long time. Luo Feng looked around. Luo Feng, came a voice. Come here. There's something important about the humans I need to tell you. This video will end here.